From the Big Flim Studios in sunny Southern California, it's Big Flim's Pigskin Picks with your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming. Hey folks, how you doing? This is your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming here, coming back at you with another episode of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition for week number 7 here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Alright, like I said, we're still dealing with the effects of the corona pandemic. And like I said, please folks, practice social physical distancing, wash your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds, wear your mask, and definitely use hand sanitizers. And also be careful around people. If you know you're sick and stuff like that, please go to the doctor or emergency room or your urgent care facility. Don't jeopardize your health, your family's health, and everybody else's health because of pride. Because COVID-19 is taking names. And especially with this upcoming flu season, the CDC predicts that it's going to be a mega spike in COVID-19 cases, so please take care of yourself, folks. Now I've already got my little quick PSA out of the way. Let's go ahead and start making our picks, shall we? All right, our first pick for this week, we have the number 17 Smu Mustangs traveling to Tulane, New Orleans to take on the Tulane Green Wave at 2-2, and SMU is 4-0. And so far, they're doing pretty good this year, so we're going to pick the number 17 ranked SMU over Tulane. All right, our next pick out of the WAC, we got the number 14 BYU Cougars. They're 4-0. They're traveling to Houston to take on the Houston Cougars at 1-0. Seems like BYU is doing pretty good, in the WAC as well. So we're gonna pick the BYU Cougars. All right, our next pick will be the number 1 ranked Clemson Tigers at 4-0, traveling to Bobby Dodd Stadium. They're in hot ATL Atlanta, GA, to take on the 2-2 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, aka the Bumblebees, aka the Broken Down Rex. For all those Tech fans, you know who you are. So, of course, Clemson got Trevor Lawrence. Right now he's the leading Heisman candidate for this year. So, with that potent offense and also as well as their defense, I don't think Georgia Tech won't have a chance against Clemson. So I think we're going to pick Clemson over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, aka the Bumblebees and the Broken Down Rex, in a blowout. All right, our next pick, we're going back to the ACC, and that was an ACC game, of course. Now we're staying in the ACC where we got the number 13 ranked Miami of Florida, the Hurricanes, the Thunderstorm. They're hosting the 3-2 Pittsburgh Panthers. And like I said, Miami's doing pretty good this year. Like I said, it was a heartbreaking loss to Clemson last week, but I think they could rebound this week at home. So we're picking Miami of Florida over Pittsburgh. All right, our next pick we have the 4-0 Liberty Flames of Lynchburg, Virginia, traveling to Syracuse in the Carrier Dome to take on the 1-3 Syracuse Orange. Like I say, I know Syracuse is kind of struggling this year, but I'm going to stick with the hot team. We will go with Liberty Flames over Syracuse. All right, our next pick, we have the South Florida Bulls at 1-3, traveling to Philadelphia to take on the 0-1 Temple Owls. Like I said, so far Temple has had a lot of games pushed back because of COVID-19 restrictions, so on and so forth. So hopefully, maybe both teams are struggling as well. So hopefully one of these teams will get back on track. But we're going to hedge our bets with the South Florida Bulls over Temple Owls. All right, our next pick, we're going to the Big 12. We have the 0-3 Kansas Jayhawks traveling to Morgantown, Virginia, to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers at 2-1. And of course, Les Miles won't be able to make the trip, the coach, because he tested positive for COVID-19, and he's under the COVID-19 protocol. And Coach Miles, I hope you get better soon, and I hope that everything will be negative, and you'll be good to go. But as far as this game is concerned, We're going to go with the West Virginia Mountaineers over the Kansas Jayhawks. All right, folks, we're going to take our first big break here, and we will be right back with Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition for week number 7 here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Hey folks, this is Lorenzo Big Flim Flaming, creator and host of Big Flim Radio and TV, with a very important message about this upcoming 2020 elections. 2020 is going to be a very contentious election cycle in modern history, especially the presidential race. The future course of our country is at stake, and you must do your part to make sure that the right candidate is elected to guide our local, state, and national policies in order to preserve our country and our way of life. Big Flim Radio and TV encourages you to do your research on all candidates running for office, as well as all of the propositions, amendments, etc. that are placed on the ballots pertaining to your state and local municipalities. Most important of all, please get out and vote either by going to the polls, mail-in ballots, early voting, etc. Please tell your friends, neighbors, co-workers, family members, and church congregants to get out and vote. Big Flim Radio and TV does not endorse any candidates, so please get out and vote.
Your Chrysler Plymouth dealers proudly announce the Chrysler Awards Celebration Sale going on now at the minivan store. For a very limited time, you have the choice of a standard length Voyager LE or the longer, more spacious, comfortably equipped Grand Voyager LE model at no extra charge. Save up to $1,500 on Voyager, voted one of Motor Trend Magazine's top 10 best domestic buys. And if you need the extra room Grand Voyager provides, you can save up to $2,650. Both are available with integrated child seats and equipped with a standard driver's minivan airbag. These savings are based on a combination of applicable cashback, package savings based on the sticker price of options and bought separately, and an extra $650 rebate on Grand Voyager and Town & Country. Your minivan airbag is fully effective only with a seatbelt. Come share in the savings on the People's Choice of minivans during the Chrysler Awards Celebration Sale going on now at the minivan store. See your Chrysler Plymouth dealer, where real advantages make a real difference. Don't get eaten alive by credit card debt or collection agencies. If you have credit card debt totaling $7,500, $15,000, or even $50,000 or more, you need to stop the financial bleeding. Call the Debt Group now. The Debt Group doesn't work for the credit card companies. The Debt Group works for you by using a national network of attorneys who can negotiate your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Only an attorney can stop those harassing collection calls. Having one of the Debt Group network of attorneys in your corner can eliminate your credit card bills, medical bills, and eliminate your personal loans by customizing the program to consolidate your debts into one affordable monthly payment. Avoid bankruptcy now and call the Debt Group to see what we can do for you. On average, we can save you almost $450 per month. Now that's worth a call. Call 888-651-1824. 888-651-1824. That's 888-651-1824. Savings based on first quarter 2007 results.
Hi, I'm here today because I'm addicted.
Big Flim Radio and TV.
Get ready. You know.
Now that's an addiction, man.
Welcome back, folks. I'm sure by now, if you haven't had a chance to check out Big Flim Radio and TV website, I encourage you to do so. Like I said, this podcast website consists of 6 podcast shows dedicated to music, talk, sports, mainly college and NFL football, and veterans issues and information. And also, we have a great online store where we sell Big Flim Radio and TV themed merchandise, especially with this upcoming holiday season coming up. Christmas around the corner. So if you want something nice for your friends, your loved ones, family members, strangers, alien from Mars, a co-worker, by all means, please check out the online store and basically check out the podcast website at www.bigflimradiotv.com. Again, that's www.bigflimradiotv.com. That's BIGFLEM as in Mike, RADIO TV. Like I say, if you want to be a guest picker or guest prognosticator, or if you have any comments or suggestions to how we can better our podcast, by all means, please send us an email at bigflimradiotv@gmail.com. Again, that's bigflimradiotv@gmail.com. And yes, we're also on social media as well. You can also send us a tweet via Twitter with the hashtag @Flim_radio. Again, that's Flim, FLEM, as in Mike, _radio, RADIO. And also, we have a Facebook group page as well under Big Flim Radio and TV. And also, we have a YouTube channel where we do video versions of some of our podcast shows at Big Flim Radio TV. Like I said, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, now let's get back to our picks, shall we? All All right, our next pick is a SEC matchup where we have the number 15 ranked Auburn Tigers at 2-1, traveling to Columbia, South Carolina at William Bryce Stadium, aka the Cockpit, as they take on the 1-2 South Carolina Gamecocks, aka the Game Chickens. All right. Like I said, Auburn's been doing pretty good. I know that one key game they really struggled. I think it was LSU a couple weeks ago that they lost to. But anyway, I'm looking at Auburn to continue with their momentum. We're going to pick the number 15 Auburn Tigers, aka Auburn Kittens, aka the War Eagles or the War Buzzards, over South Carolina Gamecocks, the Game Chickens. All right, our next pick also comes out of the SEC, the best conference in college football, where we have the Kentucky Wildcats at 1-2, traveling to Knoxville at Neyland Stadium, aka Rocky Top, to take on the number 18th ranked Tennessee Volunteers at 2-1. Last week, like I said, they started out good against Georgia. Georgia's defense really struggled in the first half, but Georgia woke up and put up 21 unanswered points in the second half and held them scoreless. So will Tennessee rebound from that disaster last week? I believe so, with Jeremy Pruitt and Garantino, I guess that's his name, Geronimo, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. So with that being said, we will pick Tennessee or Kentucky. All right, our next match, we have the TNT Navy Shipmen from Annapolis, traveling down to Greenville, North Carolina, to take on the East Carolina Pirates at 1-2. Like I see, both teams have been kind of up and up so far this season, but we're going to lean towards the Navy Shipmen in a close one over the East Carolina Panthers. All right, our next pick, we have the Texas State Bobcats at 1-4, traveling to South Alabama, take on the South Alabama Jaguars. I think it's located near Mobile, somewhere in that neck of the woods, at 1-2. Both teams are definitely struggling so far this season. I know somebody has to get a win to help get their momentum back. So we're going to go with South Alabama over Texas State. All right, our next pick, we have the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers at 1-3, traveling down to Birmingham to take on the University of Alabama Birmingham or the UAB Blazers at 3-1. Seems like the UAB Blazers are doing pretty good so far this season. So I think we'll stick with them with the win over Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. All right, our next pick we have is the Army West Point Black Knights in the United States Military Academy. Go Army at 4-1 as they travel to San Antonio and take on the University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners at 3-2. Both teams are doing pretty well this season, but my allegiance is to the United States Army. So we'll have to go with the Army West Point Black Knights over the Roadrunners. All right, our next pick, we have the 1-3 Louisville Cardinals out of the ACC. They're traveling to South Bend to take on the number 4th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish at 3-0. Of course, Notre Dame is doing exceptionally well so far. So I think we're going to stick with Notre Dame over Louisville, and I would say somewhat of a mini blowout. All right, our next pick, we're going back to the ACC where we have the 1-4 Duke Blue Devils from Durham, as they travel to Raleigh to take on the North Carolina State Wolfpack at 3-1. Seems like North Carolina State is doing pretty good this year in the ACC. So with that being said, we're going to stick with the North Carolina State Wolfpack over the Duke Blue Devils. Now, if it was college basketball, it would be the other way around. But college basketball season hasn't started yet, so we'll stick to the subject at hand, folks. So we're going to go with NC State on this one. All right, our next pick, we're going back to the SEC, where we have the Ole Miss Rebels at 1-2 under first-year coach Lane Kiffin, as he travels to Fayetteville, Arkansas to take on the 1-2 Arkansas Razorbacks. Of course, Ole Miss, they had a big shootout against Alabama. They put up 764 yards against Alabama. Right now, that makes Alabama's defense suspect and stuff like that. So it was a close game, but unfortunately, Alabama prevailed in the end. So hopefully they'll be able to rebound from that game and they'll take out Arkansas in this matchup. All right, folks, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with Big Flim's Pigskin Picks here for Big Flim Radio and TV. Hey there, folks. This is Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming, creator and host of Big Flim Radio and TV, with a very important PSA in regards to COVID-19. As you know, our world has been ravaged by the coronavirus pandemic that has upended our normal daily routines. We must do our part to minimize the spread of COVID-19 by practicing social physical distancing, which is 6 feet space between each other, wear a face mask or shield, use hand sanitizer at all times, and wash our hands constantly for at least 20 seconds. Big Flim Radio and TV is sending out prayers for those who have been infected and recovering from this virus. Our hearts go out to those who lost loved ones and friends to this COVID-19 scourge. Please, please stay safe and do your part to help minimize the spread of COVID-19 until an FDA-approved vaccine is available. Big Flim Radio and TV cares.
Lemonade, lemonade for sale.
Aren't you cute with your little lemonade stand?
Would you like to buy some lemonade, Mr. King?
No, thank you, sweetie.
It comes with free checking.
You're like 8 years old. You say free checking?
8.5.
Do you have bankers in that little stand with you?
No, but sign up and I'll get my daddy to stop stealing your newspaper.
Okay. Do you print out little account statements?
I'm not allowed on the computer since I got sued for downloading music.
All right, I'll take a lemonade.
Regular, tall, or venti?
It seems like you can get free checking anywhere, even at a lemonade stand. So what makes that so special? That's why Wells Fargo gives you more than free checking. Because not only does Wells Fargo have free checking with direct deposit, you also get knowledgeable bankers who can help you with buying a car, a house, or simply saving for the future. Whatever your financial goals, don't settle. Expect more from your checking. Talk to a knowledgeable Wells Fargo banker today. Wells Fargo, the next stage. Wells Fargo Bank and a member FDIC.
Come on, taste it. I'm tasting it. Ooh, there must be thousands of strawberries in there. Kathy, what are you doing? It's a perfectly good drinking habit. People, we all know what an uninspiring drag the afternoon can be. But I have a theory. I believe ice cream has the power to make afternoon better. Think about it. It's 3:15. You're pretending to work, as usual. You look over and instead of a cup of pens next to your computer, there's a cup of rich Jamocha almond fudge. Or maybe you're in a meeting and instead of pink highlighters, everybody's armed with pink spoons and digging into sundaes. Or imagine this. Instead of stumbling into the office kitchen for burnt coffee, you mosey into Baskin Robbins for a cool, creamy cappuccino blast. By adding a delicious scoop of vanilla ice cream to coffee, a cappuccino blast has what it takes to make afternoon better. So people, stop spacing out and visit Baskin Robbins for a cappuccino blast. Ice cream makes afternoon better is just a theory that cannot be proved or disproved even with quantum physics. Try our new Turtle or Mintopia blast too. Prices may vary. Baskin Robbins. Who wants some ice cream?
Gnarly, dude. This is Jess Coley. When I'm out hanging 10, catching the waves, checking out the chicks, and skipping Mr. Hand's class, I'm listening to Big Flim Radio and TV. Oh. Welcome back, folks, to Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition for week number 7 here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Now let's get back to our picks, shall we? All right, our next pick, we have the UCF, University of Central Florida Knights, at 2-1, traveling to Memphis to take on the 1-1 Memphis Tigers. Seems like both teams are barely hanging in there. But we want to lean towards UCF Knights over the Memphis Tigers. All right, our next pick, we have the Eastern Kentucky Colonels at 1-3, traveling to Troy, Alabama to take on the Troy Trojans at 2-1. It's like Troy did good last week against their opponent. So I think we'll stick with Troy Trojans over the Eastern Kentucky Colonels in this matchup. All right, our next matchup, we have North Texas Mean Green at 1-3, or the catchy name there, Mean Green. They travel to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, to take on Middle Tennessee State. The Blue Raiders at 1-4. Both teams are really struggling so far, and somebody has to get a win to get their momentum going again. We'll go with Middle Tennessee State over North Texas Mean Green. All right, our next matchup, we have the Thundering Herd of Marsh University, Huntington, West Virginia, at 3-0, both teams are doing pretty good so far based on their record. But I just am more familiar with what I am more familiar with the Norfolk Thunderbirds when it was Division I AA before it became FCS. So we'll stick with the Thundering Herd of Marshall over Louisiana Tech. All right, our next matchup, we're going back to the ACC where we have the number 5th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels at 3-0, traveling down to Tallahassee to Goat Campbell Stadium to take on the struggling 1-3 Florida State Seminoles. Like I said, Florida State has really been struggling so far this year. And so far, Mac Brown has finally got that team together up there at Chapel Hill. So we're going to see this is their highest ranking in almost 100 years for North Carolina Tar Heels. So I think that they'll continue with that momentum. We'll have the Tar Heels over the Seminoles in this matchup. All right, our next matchup we have the Southern Miss Golden Eagles at 1-3 traveling to El Paso to take on the University of Texas El Paso Miners at 3-2. Seems like Southern Miss has been struggling so far this year, and so far UTEP is doing fairly good this year. So I expect a close one, UTEP over Southern Miss. All right, our next matchup we have number 23 ranked. We have the Boston College Eagles at 3-1, traveling to Blacksburg, Virginia to take on the number 23 ranked and Virginia Tech Hokies. Both teams are doing pretty good so far in the ACC. We're leaning towards number 23 ranked Virginia Tech in a close one over Boston College. All right, the big game for tonight and the biggest game in the SEC, where we have the number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs at 3-0, traveling to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to take on the number 2 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, also at 3-1. This game could be the preview of the SEC championship game. Who knows? But this is worth noting. Like I said, of course, Alabama, their defense has really been struggling, especially last week against Ole Miss when they gave up 764 yards of offense to Ole Miss last week. And that's not good for Nick Saban. And of course, we saw Georgia after their offense stumbled big time in the first half against Tennessee, But they finally righted the ship, and their defense, kicked it up a notch. And then, their quarterback, Stetson Bennett, he's really coming on strong as a quarterback for Georgia. Led them to 21 unanswered points last week and shutting down Tennessee in the second half. So, Georgia's defense, and hopefully they definitely have to cut down on mistakes and turnovers against Alabama. And Alabama, their defense really got to step up if they have a chance to win. And of course, the big news this week is, Alabama's coach Nick Saban tested positive for COVID-19. And so far, came out with 2 negative tests so far, and today he came out negative on his 3rd test, so he's been cleared by the SEC conference to coach on the sidelines against Georgia. Oh, darn. But if Georgia, do pretty good and cut down their mistakes and turnovers, I think Georgia will have a good chance to beat Alabama this time around. Like I said, Alabama's won the last 5 straight meetings, including the national championship game and the last couple of SEC championship games as well, and also a regular season when Alabama played at Sanford Stadium in the pouring rain from a hurricane back in 2015, I think 2014, 2015. But anyway, we picked the Georgia Bulldogs over the Crimson Tide in a very close game. All right, last but not least, we have the Florida International Panthers at 0-1, traveling to Charlotte to take on the UNC Charlotte 49ers at 1-2. Like I said, both teams are struggling. And like I said, somebody needs to win to get their momentum going for their program. So hopefully, maybe it's Florida International University's turn to get their first win of the season. So we're going to give a nod to FIU Panthers over the 49ers. In probably a close game. All right, and then also there's some games that were postponed or matchups that have been postponed. And also there's one correction we have. Because according to this week's schedule, it was supposed to be University of Massachusetts, the Minutemen, traveling to Akron to play the Zips. But we found out that Actually, they're heading to Georgia Southern University to take on the Georgia Southern Eagles today. And this is their only game of the season. That's kind of like, wow, a waste, a one-game season for UMass. And also we have the number 8 Cincinnati Bearcats and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane games been postponed. And the WAC matchup, Hawaii Rainbows and the Air Force Falcons, theirs is postponed. Then you got San Diego State, Wyoming, and the WAC. You got New Mexico State, Fresno State, and the WAC. And you got number 17 LSU Tigers at 1-2. They were supposed to go down to the Swamp and take on the number 10 Florida Gators. That game got postponed because of recent positive COVID-19 test results. So they closed their facilities, and they decided to postpone this game for today. And then you had Auburn and Vanderbilt and Missouri in the SEC. That game is postponed. And then you got the number 7 Oklahoma State Cowboys at 3-0. Supposed to travel down to Waco, aka Waco, Texas, to take on the Baylor Bears. That game has been postponed in the Big 12. Excuse me, folks. Now, let's go ahead and do a recap of all Big Flim's Pigskin picks for week number 7 of the college football season, shall we? We have number 17 SMU over Tulane. We have number 14 BYU over Houston, the Battle of the Cougars. Then we have Clemson over Georgia Tech, mighty handily. Then we got number 13 Miami, Florida over Pittsburgh Panthers. We have the Liberty Flames over Syracuse Orange. We have the South Florida Bulls over Temple Owls. We have West Virginia Mountaineers over the Kansas Jayhawks. We have the Auburn Tigers over South Carolina Gamecocks, Game Chickens. Also, we have number 18 Tennessee Volunteers over the Kentucky Wildcats. We have the Navy Midshipmen over East Carolina Panthers. We have South Alabama Jaguars over Texas State. We have UAB Blazers over Western Kentucky. We have the Army West Point, the Black Knights over the Roadrunners of UT San Antonio. We have the number 4 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish over Louisville Cardinals. We have North Carolina State Wolfpack over Duke Blue Devils. We have the Ole Miss Rebels over the Arkansas Razorbacks. We have the UCF, University of Central Florida Knights over Memphis Tigers. We have the Troy Trojans over Eastern Kentucky Colonels. We have Middle Tennessee State over North Texas. We have Marshall Thundering Herd over Louisiana Tech. We have the number 5 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels over Florida State, the Seminoles. Then we have UTEP, Texas El Paso Miners over Southern Miss Eagles. We have the number 23 ranked Virginia Tech Hokies over Boston College Eagles. Then we have the number 3 Georgia and a close one over number 2 Alabama tonight. Go Dogs. Then we have Florida National University over Charlotte 49ers. All right, so there you go, folks. These are our picks for Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition for week number 7 here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Alrighty, like I said, tune in again next week where we'll have another episode of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. And I am your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming. Signing off the air, folks. You take care, you stay safe, practice social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds, and definitely use a lot of hand sanitizers. If you're sick, please go to the doctor, go to the hospital, go to urgent care. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, your loved ones, your friends, your co-workers. Right now, we got to do a better job and decreasing this COVID-19 pandemic, because it's really starting to pick up now, especially we're getting ready to another flu season. And right now, the pandemic rate is getting a little large in the United States, and then also is picking up in Europe and in other countries as well. So please do your part to help minimize the COVID-19 pandemic so we can defeat this virus until a vaccine has been approved for general use. Alrighty, until then, stay safe, God bless, and take care. Big Flim's Pigskin Picks NFL and College Football Editions are a production of Black Rebel Productions in association with Flim Media, a division of LWF Enterprises, LLC. The opening theme music clips are the sole properties of CBS Sports College Football as well as Fox NFL Sports. This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only.